I arrived in Metro Manila on the night of the 27th. I took the bus from Naga and then switched to a taxi with the usual Metro Manila traffic. This was already almost 10 p.m. When I got to my dorm after being away for almost 3 months, my key card no longer worked at the turnstile at the main entrance, but the guards let me in because I was still a tenant, and my key did work in the door to my dorm room. No one was there, so I was mostly free to make a minor mess while unpacking. I decided not to have a very early morning on the next day. By 9:30, I have already had breakfast and I was already on my way to my university because I had to enroll for residency with library privileges, and I also wanted to see a couple of my good friends. At about 11 a.m., I arrived in the campus and went straight to this building for enrollment matters. This corridor leads to the offices of the Department of English and Comparative Literature under the College of Arts and Letters, where I needed to go, and also to the Graduate School office of the College of Arts and Letters, where I also needed to go. But after I got my form, which was necessary for enrollment, there was no professor available yet to sign it as approval for advisement, so I decided to proceed to the planned lunch with my good friends Ella and Mads. On the way out, I saw these cats that were being cared for inside the campus. They're clean and healthy and well fed, and the white cat has one green eye and one blue eye. I think it's so fascinating. And then over here is a small display showing the plans for the new faculty center. In some of my previous vlogs, which I will link down below, I mentioned that the faculty center burned down sometime in 2016, but finally a new one will be built in its place. Next, I took a jeepney to meet Ella and Mads at one of the restaurants inside this building right here, which is called the Bahay ng Alumni. This is a rather big building that has, I think, 4 restaurants, all of which we have already been to, and then a hostel and offices, and this large area right here that is often used for events and gatherings. And here is the restaurant where we will be meeting up. I was the first one there, so I ordered a moringa and calamansi juice and planned to read my book while waiting, but Ella came around after a few minutes, followed by Mads, and we quickly dug into the food. I didn't even think of taking videos of the food before they were all finished by us. We were just talking and talking about our respective researches and shared some updates about the academic life here, all the way through to dessert, which I was actually able to film. We are missing 2 people from our group. There's Ray, who is in Iloilo because he lives there and he's there for the Dinagyang Festival also, and Audrey, who is currently in London as a Chevening scholar. When we left the restaurant, it was drizzling outside, so we took out our umbrellas and walked, while talking still, to the building where I have just been to because it turned out that both Ella and Mads also had to be there for some errands. It was a very nice walk, so let me put on some music while I describe the scenery to you. This is the Carillon, and this is the area surrounding it. I think these are seats, and on the plaques are the names of the people who have donated money for the upkeep of the Carillon. And then we took this route across the field that is bounded on all sides by the academic oval. The sun was already shining at this point, but it was also still drizzling. This is a very beautiful campus. There are lots of trees, and many of these trees are very, very old. This campus in Diliman has been here since about after the Second World War. There is an older campus that dates back to 1908, and it's located in Padre Faura, but it's a smaller campus. This one is certainly more expansive, and it has all of these things to look at. Here is a sculpture that depicts the making of the Philippine flag. And here is what looks like a waterless creek. Then, after a while, we emerged at the other side. Here at this corridor, we said our goodbyes and went on to what we each had to do. And then I got my form signed, and then I got my enrollment assessed. And then I walked out to fix the things in my bag before taking a jeepney ride to the university cashier, where I am supposed to pay my tuition. And there was this cat that was a tad grumpy, but he was also curious about my bag. Payment was quick, and in no time I found myself very near my dorm again. I just had to walk by this really annoying, very ugly, and extremely noisy roadwork right here. I rested for a bit in my dorm room while waiting for a call from National Bookstore to let me know if the book I needed was in stock. Shortly before 6 p.m., they told me they found it, and then I left the dorm once again to pick up the book, which was the Penguin Classic Edition of On the Road by Jack Kerouac. This book isn't for me, it's for Nicole, the daughter of one of my doctors who was also a family friend. I also needed the original scroll version for Nicole's dad, my doctor, because he saw mine in the photo and seemed interested, but the bookstore told me it was sold out. After paying for the book, I walked to the stacks to make sure that they did not have the original scroll version in stock, and turns out it really wasn't available. But I found a few other books I needed and wanted, including this book by my friend Joel Pablo Salud. And then I was also expecting to find Insurrecto, the new book by Gina Apostol, but it was also sold out here. And then I dropped by my usual salon to get 1 inch trimmed off of my hair. I usually get a haircut every 6 months. And then after the haircut, I went straight back to the dorm. I was able to get some reading done. I have this clip light by my headboard, which plugs into a socket in the wall, but I found it too bright, so I ended up using the battery operated one that I bought just recently. I finished reading the book that very same night, and then, in a while, it was time to go back home to Naga.